will be stunned if we don't have a recession in 23. Don't know the timing, but certainly by the end of 23. I will not be surprised if it's not larger than the so-called average garden variety. And I don't rule out, not my forecast, but I don't rule out something really bad. Why? Because if you look at the liquidity situation that has driven this, we're going to go from all this QE to QT. We're following an asset bubble. We've been doing all this running down on the SPR, which is now, that's the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. It's now below 84 levels, even though obviously oil consumption is much higher. We've had a bunch of myopic policies that have actually delayed the liquidity shrinkage. QT has been almost entirely offset by Janet Yellen running down the Treasury savings account. By the way, pretty amazing policy. She could have sold 10 years for under 1% during this time. Instead, she runs down the Treasury savings account. So all that has masked the liquidity shrinkage, but it really comes into full gear. And she can continue this for a while. We can do the SPR for a while, stimulative stuff. But by the first quarter of 23, it kind of goes the other way. So our central case is a hard landing by the end of 23. But I don't know. I've been wrong on a lot of things. I could be wrong on this, but since I do it for a living, that's our forecast, which is a recession in 23.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think. And we have Druckenmiller states that we're going to have a recession in 2023. Guys, we know we're already in a recession. In 2023 and 24, we're going to be in a Great Depression. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. Like he stated, Janet Yellen has been running down the Treasury savings account. And guys, you know, I used to go over it last year all the time. We know Janet Yellen and Gary Gensler is the NWO chess piece to get us landed in the fourth industrial revolution.
We're in I was laughing, this conference feels so good, and everyone's having fun, and I'm like, do these people in the audience not know the world is blowing up outside? Right? The bond markets are in complete collapse. This is a 2008 financial crisis going on in financial markets. Bond markets are having the biggest moves I've ever seen in my career. Equity markets getting killed. And so you're really having a breakdown. Usually that energy can't last forever. We'll hit a parabolic top. You might hit it this week. You might hit it in a few weeks. But moves like we've seen in the last 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, don't last forever. People don't know they're fired yet. When companies are getting hammered like they are, there's going to be a response. Demand's going to fall for their product. People will get laid off. And so there's a recession coming. And that then needs to get priced in, right? So have equity markets sold off enough?
So you're saying it's not been priced in fully yet?
I think equity markets probably in the U.S., the S&P can probably go as low as 3,000, 3,300, and it's at 3,600 now. So that's another 10 to 15%. Will it go there in a straight line? Absolutely not. It'll bounce, everyone will feel good, and then it'll roll over again. What does it mean for crypto? Crypto is pretty freaking interesting. Why didn't crypto go down in the last few weeks? Well, we have the big deleveraging with Celsius and Voyager and Three Arrows and all these providers of leverage that went belly up. If you had to sell, you sold. And so crypto had a massive sell-off, right? And then it bounced. There are not a lot of forced sellers left. And so we're in this weird equilibrium where there are a few buyers, there are a few sellers, and there's not that energy in the market like you're seeing in the equity market or the bond market where you have to sell, right? The leverage is way out of the system in crypto. There's also something that I sense from my travels, from my meetings, both with institutions, with young people. The word inevitable keeps coming up. There's a sense of inevitability that we're in the right space. Inevitable that Bitcoin will have its day because at one point with 120% debt to GDP, the U.S. will not be able to really not monetize its debt. That Web3 in time will be a big part of the gaming space, brands, NFTs. Like Web3 will be a thing. Ethereum did the merge. That was an unbelievable accomplishment of a community getting together to attack and solve a stunningly complicated computer science problem.
You talk about inevitability.
Now we have Druckenmiller and Novogratz telling us the truth. But unfortunately, guys, when all this talk was about the Fed and the Pentagon, we happen to get that great event. And we know that big event is right around the corner to distract us. So then therefore, everybody takes all their minds off the Fed and their attention goes elsewhere. We know how it goes. We know the Fed is not going to say, I took your money. Like Novogratz stated, people are already fired. They already are laid off. They just haven't got the memo. The only thing you have to do is look at the bond market and then add up, guys, all these companies, all these big corporations that's going to be paying a 15% tax. Plus, they're paying higher wages. Remember, the NWO caused the problem. Wait for the reaction, run in with the solution. And we know the robots, algorithms, and drones are about to take over the economy, pay each other with crypto, and the sheep go inside the metaverse.
Speculative mania in 2017, right? Bubbles, you study bubbles, financial market bubbles. They always happen around technologies that change the world, right? Think about the internet bubble in 1999. It went crazy, right? Pets.com and all these, crazy companies, and then it crashed. And we didn't really get the internet for years later, right? If you think about Facebook and the iPhone, that was 2005, 6, 7. 6, 7 years after the first bubble. So in crypto, we had a bubble in 2017 because the story is so powerful. It's the story of people not trusting the center, people wanting to have a decentralized system where you don't need to trust the government. We don't need to trust, if you're in Canada, Trudeau decides he doesn't like you protesting the truckers and he freezes your bank account, right? Or the privacy invasion that you're going to see if you're using the CBDC in China. Or, I can give you 15 different examples. And so people said, hey, this is my movement. I don't trust old people in lots of ways, right? It was a Gen Z millennial revolution. And it was global. That's a powerful story. So in the 17 run, it was mostly story. I think I made a good living because I'm a storyteller. And then we had the collapse. We had a monster collapse. It collapsed 90%, 95%. In the 2021 run, right, it was really generated by COVID. After COVID and the monetary response, people said, oh my God, now I get why Bitcoin's important. But we also got what we call the digitalization of everything. And so Ethereum and all the other level ones started really accelerating the work to build a shared blockchain that we can build companies on top of. And I would tell you that the price action in 2021 was probably 80% story and 20% utility. This next bull run is going to have to be 50% story, 50% utility. And so, and I see it's people building applications, people building systems, A, that are fast and scalable, and B, that are user-friendly. We don't have them yet. That's why we're where we are. But in the next few years, they're coming. We'll stick around longer than they think, because they're hoping it comes back. I don't think there's a bailout coming for lots of funds that are down 60, 70%. I just don't. And then people look at the math, and they're like, I'm not making enough money. It's a long way back in the high water mark. And so I think a lot of hedge funds will go out of business. A lot have. We'll know a lot more in March, post-year end, when people decide, what am I doing for the next year? Listen, that's the natural part of any evolution of a business. What's kind of more exciting is how many institutions are lining up to get in the space. If you had asked me on Christmas Eve last year, what I went to bed, what present I was hoping for, what prayer I said, please, Santa Claus, bring me a present, it would be that BlackRock crypto on its Aladdin platform. Right? BlackRock is the largest asset manager in the world, $7 trillion, down from $10 trillion. And they have a platform that all their institutions can use. And they said this year, after having been skeptical in 2020, 2021, we're going to allow Coinbase to have a product on it, and we're going to put our own product on it. That's a big, big deal. And I'm seeing that with every institution. Citadel, probably the greatest hedge fund out there right now, or at least the most profitable.
Central banks, including the Fed, is that I think there's sort of theoretical stuff in the future, and then there's the here and the now. And the here and the now is proliferating blockchain technology. Now, tens of thousands of companies connecting, building. It's this new internet infrastructure layer. That's happening. That's not going away. That's just continuing to happen. And you're seeing tens of thousands of companies building digital wallets and software and other things on that. And you're seeing, representations, tokenized forms of cash or dollars. And that's the here and the now. And that's sort of the private sector and the open internet innovation environment doing its work. And so I think you see this in the EU with the MyCard legislation, where they're focused on, okay, here's a framework for stablecoins. Is the here and the now is this innovation that's happening in the market today, and that's really the priority. And I think that is going to be the fastest path towards realizing the ideas of digital currency at scale in society. And so that's, I think, the focus. I think you'll continue to see, studies and research and things like that around the world, and collaboration projects, proofs of concepts, and other things. But I think the priority for national governments ought to be, let's get some legislation and rules in place, because we have an industry that's growing and thriving and has huge potential.
Now we have Jeremy that happens to pop up from Circle USDC. And we know all the talk with the Fed and the central bankers about regulating stable coins, and then also they're doing tests on CBDCs. And we remember Brian Brooks and Jeremy talking, and they stated they were working on a United States stablecoin, which is USDC, and we clearly see now they're definitely the chosen one, but they will be controlled by the central banks. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
We're going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
This effort, and China has big plans for this. They intend to seed their digital yuan into the global environment by giving it away to visitors at next winter's Olympics. When they arrive at the airport, they're going to get yuan digital wallets. They're going to receive digital yuan. They're going to use it throughout their visits to Beijing, and then they're going to take it back to their home countries. They see this as a huge advantage. Why? Because who controls the underlying protocols, who controls the underlying standards of the future of money will control the future of money.
Most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York. COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.